Hello mathematicians, puzzlers, and other curious people. In this video, we are looking at an example using dimensional analysis to calculate the annual cost of a backyard swimming pool. So here's some information we have. The pool in question is 10 feet across, which means its radius is 5 feet. We will need to know that to calculate the area of a circle at the top of the pool, which we will use then to calculate the volume. We actually will just be plugging these formulas in instead of calculating that volume as a separate step. That volume of the pool is the amount of water it takes to fill it once. So we'll use these numbers to calculate that amount. So in one fill of the pool, we will use pi times the radius, which is 5 feet, times the radius again because it's squared, times the height of the water-filled part of the pool, which according to this is 4 feet. These are all measurements that you could take off of a real pool directly using a ruler, except for pi, which is a number that's approximately 3.14. Many calculators do have a pi button, but if you find that the calculator you're using doesn't, you can just use 3.14 and you'll get close enough for most practical purposes. So here's the amount of water in one fill of the pool. Now, if we want to know the annual cost, we need to think about how many times per year you would drain and fill the pool. If it doesn't have a filter, it's a good idea to do that pretty often so that you don't get too much stuff growing and accumulating in the pool. So let's say over the course of the summer, they plan to fill the pool 10 times. So there will be 10 fills and likewise 10 drains in between them per summer. If we just want to know the amount of water that would be used, we've got enough here. But if we're curious about the cost, we would need a couple more pieces of information, such as the cost of water. This is from a nearby city, Nacogdoches. So that cost of water is between 1 and 2 cents. So $0.01675 per 1,000 gallons. That actually looks a little bit tricky because we just introduced a new unit gallons when we've already got a bunch of feet running around in there. The fills do cancel, but the gallons, well, that's a volume unit. That's kind of like cubic feet, only it's a different size. So we do have a conversion factor for that. I'm going to be honest, I don't have this one memorized. I googled it. It's not one that most people memorize. So this conversion factor is 1 gallon is the same as 0.133681 cubic feet. Now, I was very careful to line up the gallons that I was introducing in the numerator so they would cancel the gallons I had from before in the denominator. I'm almost there. Now I've got feet times feet times feet, which is cubic feet. So that cancels in the same way that you might say 8, which is 2 cubed, could cancel a 2 times 2 times 2. Now all we need to do is multiply across, and we will have not our final answer, but something that's very close to it because it will be a rate in the right units. So numerator first, doesn't actually matter, but we've got to do something first. So pi, again, if your calculator doesn't have a pi button, use 3.14, and then times 5 times 5 times 4 times 10 times 0.01675 times 1. And I see that that is, we bring along the dollars that did not cancel, about $52.62. I could bring along some more decimal places here. I don't think it's going to make a difference because of what numbers I'm dealing with in the denominator. So in the denominator, we've got 1 fill times 1 summer. So 1 times 1,000 times 0.133681. We're talking about summers. So in 133.681 summers, they would spend $52.62 on water. Well, that's fine, but no one's going to be using that pool for 133 years. We would like to know the cost for 1 summer. So if we want to know about 1 summer, what we will need to do is divide both parts of the fraction by the same thing. This is just equivalent fractions. Now I see if I need to divide 133.681 by something and get 1, that's going to have to be 133.681. And if I want an equivalent fraction, the numerator and denominator have to have the same thing divided out. So now I'm going to say, okay, $52.62 divided by 133.681, and I find that that is about 39 cents. So It turns out that that pool, to fill it and drain it and fill it and drain it 10 times over the course of the summer would cost 39 cents, which I think is a deal for being able to beat the heat. Calculator!